So today we are learning about Chapter 6-3, Write and Graph Linear Functions, and we have two formulas that you need for today. So keep these very handy, as well as the formulas that you've been working with this week for finding slope, because you're going to need them all to solve these problems. All right? So copy this down, and we'll be right back with some examples. Okay, so for numbers 1 through 6, it gives us a graph in the book on page 256. So you need to have your book out so you can follow along. And it says look at the lines and then write a formula for the line based on the information you have in the graph. So we're going to use this formula right here, the slope-intercept form, to write our formula for these lines in this first section. And remember, your M is your slope and your B is your Y-intercept, or wherever that line crosses the Y-axis. So those are the information pieces that we're going to need to write this equation. So let's look at line D in the book. And the first thing that it tells us to do is choose 2 points on the line so that you can find out what the slope is. Remember, slope is rise over run. So we need to find out how far up and over it goes to the next point. So the first point I'm going to get is the one that's right on the y-axis because it's easiest, which would be 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong line. 1, 2. So the first point of line D is 0, 2, negative 2. And the other point, let's just go up to, the other one is at 4 and 0. So I can use this formula to find the slope, or on the actual graph I can just count how far up and how far over did I go to find the slope. So which way do you guys want to do it? You would think it was a Monday the way you guys are acting today. What is wrong with you people? It's Friday. Okay. So let's just plug it in since nobody's talking, and we're going to put 0 minus a negative 2 over 4 minus 0. So these two negatives become plus, and I end up with 2 over 4, which reduces to what? Come on, Ethan. Yeah, it is. 1/2. So our slope, I think you can see that behind my little picture, is 1/2 for this line. So I'm going to plug that right in here for this M value. So Y equals 1/2, and it's positive because we had to go up and over to get to that next spot.
Was it 2 a negative?
Where?
Because you have 2 positives over 4 minus 0.
But 4 minus 0 would just be 4.
No. Over, like, the 0 plus 2
Yeah.
is 2 negative.
No, because those two pluses, like those two negatives turn to positives.
So 2 positive. I'm saying before you put it in.
Yeah. Before I put it in, it was 0 minus a negative 2. Sorry. Okay, and then my y-intercept is where does this line cross the y-axis? So if I look at the graph, it crosses the y-axis, that vertical axis, at negative 2. So if it crosses at a negative number, you're going to write minus the number. If it crosses at a positive number, you'll write plus the number. So number 2 is line E. So on the graph, I'm looking for line E, and I see that it's a vertical line. When a line is vertical, what axis is it passing through? The x-axis. So an equation for a vertical line is going to be x equals whatever number that line is passing through on the x-axis. So what is it passing through on this one? Yeah, on the x-axis, which number is it going through? -5. And so that's it for number 2. So the vertical and the horizontal lines are going to be super easy formulas to write. Number 3 is line F. So line F, okay, so I see, remember I'm going to have y equals something x, and then plus or minus my b, whatever, wherever it crosses the y-intercept. So this time I'm going to look at the y-intercept first, and I'm going to write that down. So where does line F cross the y-intercept? Any other guesses?
You said what?
Line F, where does it cross the y?
-6.
It's 5.
It's 5.
It's 5.
It's +5. That one, it's hard because there's like 7 lines on the graph, so it makes it a little tricky. So my y-intercept is going to be +5 on this one. And now I have to find my slope. So what I...
6.
What?
I'm counting 6.
You're counting 6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Did you count the x-axis? Don't count the
No, I didn't.
x-axis. Are you looking at a different line? There is no line on 6.
There's so many lines crossing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting 5 and the book says 5, so
Which one's that?
it's
There's
the
like
top,
3 lines.
it's the topmost line. The line that's at the very top. Okay, let's keep going because my recorder's running. So now I'm going to do the slope. So what I can do is I can find 2 points on the line and calculate the slope using those 2 points. So let's use the one that's on the y-axis, which would be 0, I'll do it up here, 0, 5. And then another point, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4 is also on that line. Okay, and I'm just going to plug it into this formula. So m equals 4 minus 5 over 3 minus 0, which equals -1 over 3. So that becomes my slope for my m. Number 4, line A. So line A is what kind of a line? Horizontal. So when it's a horizontal line, which axis is it crossing through? Y. So this one's going to be a y equals, and where does it cross through y? At 3. And so that's it for line A. And number 5, the equation for this one ends up looking a little bit weird, so I want to go through how to do it. So line B, remember I'm going to have y equals something x and then plus or minus my y-intercept. So where does line B cross the y-intercept? At 0. So you can add the +0 for the y-intercept, or you can just leave it off because it's 0. So you could just have y equals something x for this one. And then let's do the slope. So we know one of the points is 0, 0. And it looks like another point is -1, 1. Okay. So let's solve this formula with those points. 1 minus 0 over -1 minus 0, which equals 1 over negative 1. But remember, our negative always has to be on top when we are doing slope. And we can divide that out to just equal a negative 1. So we're going to write the slope as negative 1x plus 0. But if you see this equation in your textbook, it's going to look like this. They're going to leave everything off except the negative that's on the x, okay? So it's going to look really strange. You just have to walk yourself through. Oh yeah, there's an imaginary 1 there with a 1 under it, so the slope is negative 1, positive 1, and the y-intercept is 0. All right? So let's see if I want to do the last one. Let's see. I'm running out of time, so I think I'm going to go to the next section. So for the last section, we're going to be using this formula, and it's called point slope form, and we have to have a point and we have to have the slope to use this formula, which is what they gave us in this section. They gave us the slope, m equals 3, and then they gave us a point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label that point x1, y1. And then I'll easily be able to plug it into my formula. So I have y minus 5 equals 3 times x minus 1. And all I did was take all this information up here and plug it in to this formula. So now I'm just going to solve the equation. So the first thing I want to do is distribute my 3. So 3x minus 3. And then I'm going to, I want to get it in the y equals mx plus b kind of setup. So that's what I'm going for. So I'm going to add this 5 to both sides. Leave the 3x like it is. Negative 3 plus 5 is positive 2. And there's my y equals mx plus b formula. Okay? Let's do one more of these. All right, so remember the formula needs one coordinate and the slope. And what they've given us in number 9 is 2 coordinates. So I cannot just plug that into this formula. I have to do something else first. So I'm going to first label them all, x1, y1, x2, y2. And then I'm going to use the slope formula, which is this one, to find the slope. And then I can plug it into that new formula. So I'm going to do m equals negative 4 minus a negative 6 over 1 minus 3. And that's going to equal 2 over negative 2. Or if I divide it out, it's just going to be negative 1. Okay, just checking my math. And then I can add it to this new formula up top. So I have y minus a negative 6 equals my slope, which is what we just found, times x minus 3. And I'm using this coordinate because it's my x1, y1. So I'm going to change those to pluses. Y plus 6 equals negative x. This is going to turn it to a positive 3. And then just get that 6 to the other side so it's in your y equals mx plus b format. Y equals negative x minus 3. And that's it.